Assalamu alaikum. Today we are going to start with our subject EVS 1, chapter number 4, environmental balance. So what do you understand by environmental balance? See here in the picture, balance word comes as a weighing machine, we can call it as, and environment means what? Yes, environment means surrounding of us. Whatever we see around us, we take it as environment. So in this chapter, we are going to study how our environment is balanced, how the water, soil, gases, air, how it gets balanced, how the animals are there, many types of microorganisms are there, birds are there, human beings are there. So how all these things gets balanced, that we are going to study in this chapter. See here in the picture, what all things you can see? It is a riverside picture. So here at riverside, what all things we can see? Plants, sun, cloud, sky, water. So it is a good scenery, yes or no? If we will start making a list of things, whether it's living things or non-living things. If we'll take living things, what all things we can see near the river side if we'll go? So we can see the fishes are there, birds are there near the river side. And if we consider a non-living thing, so we can, what all things we can see? Non-living thing may we can take it as a water, yes or no? So if we'll see the shapes, color, sound, shelter, etc. So many things we can see around us. So not near the river side only, if we'll go in the garden, we can see what all things we can see. Different types of plants are there, trees are there, grasses are there. We can also observe the plants, not animals, birds, and we can see different types of stones. Yes, if we'll go to the village, what all things we can observe there? We can see milch animals are there, means the animals which gives us the milk, like cows are there, buffaloes are there. We can see the cow dungs, droppings, nest. So many things we can observe if we'll go to the village. So there are different types of living organisms, yes or no? We can say that different types of living things are there at different places if we'll visit. All kinds of living things belong to different things, yes or no? So to study all these things, or we can say that the variety we see in all living things that belong to a particular area is called the biodiversity. Understood? So first topic we are going to study here is biodiversity. See here in the picture, different animals are there, birds are there, plants are there, grasses are there, many things are there. So to study such type of biodiversity of a place, what scientists have done? They have made a large number of observation, yes or no? They observe it by different techniques. So observation, they make this observation in different conditions such as day and night, or they observe it at different seasons, yes or no? So they have used special devices, like for example, if they want to see something, it is very far, so what they do, they use a telescope. But nowadays what all things are there? There is a, in the space, what they just leave the satellites. So through the satellites we can see the pictures which comes to us on the TV or in our mobiles, yes or no? Yes. So they use special devices to make observations of living things that are found at great heights or depths, as well as of microorganisms. So observations of many scientists are brought together and studied again. So biodiversity is what? It is the variety we see in all the living things that belong to a particular area is called the biodiversity. So efforts are made over a long period of time For what? For the study of biodiversity in at different places. Yes or no? So we cannot see the snake, tiger, lion, polar bear in Mumbai. Yes or no? So they live in at a particular area, or we can say at a particular biodiversity which doesn't suits here in the urban area. We cannot bring polar bear or the penguin to stay here or to live here in Mumbai. So they require different biodiversity. So there is a need for the study of biodiversity. Next, what is environment? See in the picture, a good picture is given where the plant, grasses, cloud is there, sky is there. How beautiful it is. It looks like a image down. Yes or no? So the surrounding and the condition in those surroundings which affect the life of the organisms there are called environment. Yes or no? So what all things include in that? It includes sunlight, air, water, soil, plants and animals, etc. So living and non-living things, they are interdependent on each other. Yes or no? Yes, they are interdependent on each other. So we cannot live without non-living things. We require water, air. Yes or no? We require the plant trunk for our for what all things. We make many wood things. Yes or no? Sofa is there, bed are there. So many things are there which is made up of wood. So we are dependent on the we are dependent on each other. So there is a lot of to give and take, or we can call it as there is a interaction between them. So to study all these things, like for example, see here, sunlight, air, water, soil, plants and animals are included. Many components in the surroundings. Living and non-living things depend on each other. So because of that, we are going to study now food chain. What is food chain? I told you they are interdependent on each other. Yes or no? Like for example, we are directly dependent on sun, air, water, soil. Yes or no? See here in the picture, the arrows are given. How the arrows are given? See here, sun is there. Sun is giving the water to the producer. Who is producer here? Plant. Then that plant is eaten up by the rabbit. Then that rabbit is eaten up by the deer. Then that deer is eaten up by the bear, and that bear is eaten up by the fox. Then fox, or we can say that the squirrel, and many thing is there. Many animals are there which is eaten up by the eagle. And when the eagle die, so what happens when die? The microorganisms which is there in the environment, whether they are in the air or in the soil, they decompose them. Decompose means they break down the complex substances into simpler. Like for example, like someone die and we bury them under the ground. So when we dig that place after some year, we can say as 1 or 2 year, we can find that person down? No, because they have been decomposed. How? The soil is having a microorganisms which decomposes the body, and that decomposes release the energy and it get back to the environment. So several links in a chain. So such thing we call it as chain, and we can also call it as food chain. Yes or no? Yes, plant is eaten up by rabbit, rabbit is eaten up by the deer, deer is eaten up by the bear. So it is a chain like thing. Yes or no? So such chain we call it as food chain. So several links are in a food chain is there. Yes, sunlight, plants, food, worm eats grasshoppers, grasshopper eat worms, birds eats grasshoppers. So many things are there. Next, for food, all living things are dependent on each other. Yes or no? They all are dependent on each other. Next, each component of food chain is a link. So what is a food chain? Interaction between, or we can say there is a definite sequence in these interactions, which we call it as food chain. See there, three examples are given. Corn is there, corn is eaten up by rat, and rat is eaten up by owl. Then second is the carrot. So carrot is eaten up by rabbit, rabbit is eaten up by fox, and fox is eaten up by lion. And the last one more example is grass. Grass is eaten up by grasshopper. Grasshopper is eaten up by frog. Frog is eaten up by the python. We can call it as snake. And the snake is eaten up by the eagle. So there are different several links in this chain, and if the links were to separate from each other, could they be called a chain? No. So even though each chain is complete object, it is joined to the links before and after. So here we cannot say that rabbit only eats the carrot or the owl only eats the rat. The owl may eat the frog, the owl may eat the rabbit. Yes or no? So they are dependent on each other. Like for example, every day we cannot eat roti, or every day we cannot eat rice. Yes or no? We want different things for our taste. Yes or no? Continuously every day, every day, every day, if our mother will make dal rice, so we will say one day, mummy, what is this? Make something different. Yes or no? The same way even the animals wants the different things, so they eat different things. So such link when come together, they are known as food web. See here in the picture, grass is there, it is a producer. So goat ate grasses, rabbit ate grasses, mouse eat grasses. Yes or no? Grass no, but mouse eats many things. So here goat eats grass, rabbit eats grass. So next mouse is there. So cat can eat mouse also, cat can eat rabbit also. Goat is eaten up by jackal or the lion. Snake can be eaten up by kite. So this is the link between different links of food chain. When come together, we call it as food web. Or we can say that each chain that is of 4, 5 or more links. So many food chains are interconnected at various levels, and that thing we call it as food web. See here, one living thing can be a part of a number of food chain. This gives rise to food web in nature. So what is food web? See here in the picture, diagram 1 and diagram 2 is there. Diagram 1 says that grasses and trees are eaten up by grasshopper. Grasshopper is eaten up by frog. Frog is eaten up by snake, and snake is eaten up by hawk. But in the next diagram you can see grass is eaten up by squirrel also, and one more we can call it as squirrel is there, chipmunk is there, it is same like a squirrel, as well as the beetle is there, caterpillar is there. Then this thing is eaten up by, that is beetle, and caterpillar is eaten up by bird. Bird eats snake, means we can say that bird is eaten up by snake. So snake not only eat the bird, it may eat the chipmunk also, squirrel also. Yes or no? Yes. So they are interconnected to each other. See here, there is one more picture explaining the food web. Deer eats grass. Deer is eaten up by bear also. Fox and owl is there, they eat the rodent also, or birds also. So this is the example of food web. So we can say that one living thing can be a part of a number of food chains that give rise to a food web in nature. So in this, what is the most important food? Yes, the most important thing is plants. So every living thing gets its food from the environment. Yes or no? So many animals in the environment eat only plants. Even we eat the vegetables. Yes or no? So we are also dependent on plant. So plant is the most important food in the food chain. So other animals like Even the other animals eat the animals that live on plants. But plants make their own food in the presence of sunlight using water and carbon dioxide. We have learned this in our previous standards, that plants make their own food with the help of sunlight, water and carbon dioxide, and that process we call it as photosynthesis. So it means that plants are the main support of every food chain or food web. When we have observed the food chain and food web, the starting thing was the plant. See ya, living things gets from food from environment. Yes or no? So with the help of water, air and in the presence of sunlight, plants make their own food. So plants are eaten up by the animals. Next, we are going to study about the environmental balance. What is environmental balance? Observe it carefully in the picture. Yes, microorganisms help the process of decomposition of plant residue dead animals. We can also say that there are many food chains in our environment. Yes or no? Because of this food chain, what happens? Every living thing gets their food whenever they are needed. So, whenever the microorganisms are there in the soil, what they do? I told you that they decomposes. Whether it's the plant residue or the dead animals, or we can also call it as if the excreta is also there. So such things is decomposed by the microorganisms, and as a result what happens? Substances that help the growth of plants are formed and get added to the soil, and plants use them again for their growth. So what happens? So whatever is decomposed, whether it's a plant, animals, whatever, so such residue gets decomposed and it is mixed with the soil, and that thing is used up by the plant again for their growth. So thus plants use substances in the soil for their growth, and when the plants and animals die, I told you that the decomposition occurs, that is simpler complex substances breaks down into simpler substances. So we can say that this is a type of a cycle which continuously goes on. We have learned about the water cycle in your previous standard. Yes or no? See here in the picture, water comes down by the clouds, it goes down and mixes with the ocean. Then when the sun comes, sun absorbs the water. Yes or no? By evaporation, water evaporates and it condenses and it gets converted into cloud. Then cloud, after cloud is condensed, the water drops comes down. So this is the process of water cycle. So different cycles are there in our environment which comes together and forms a environmental balance. So living things get a continuous supply of water because of the water cycle. So living things use oxygen from the air for breathing, yes or no, and give out the carbon dioxide, whereas plant needs carbon dioxide and gives out the oxygen. So this is the process where give and take is occurring, or we can say it is used up, or we can, one more thing we can say, that oxygen is given out in the process and gets added to the air again, and this too is a cycle. Yes or no? So several cycles are there in the nature, and this interaction amongst living and non-living in the nature is known as the environmental balance. So this interaction goes on continuously, it is not been stopped. Like for example, we don't stop breathing, we continuously breathe, as well as plant doesn't stop doing photosynthesis, they continuously giving out the carbon dioxide. So such cycle goes on continuously, or we can say that such interactions goes on continuously, which helps to maintain the food chain in the environment, or the cycle, or we can also call it as environmental balance. So when this type of cycles in the environment go on uninterrupted. Uninterrupted means without stopping. So such environmental balance is maintained. Yes or no? See here in the picture, continuously the environmental balances are going on. Yes or no? Yes. So through this picture, we understood that how the environment balance, how they are balanced by different types of cycles are there. Food chain, food web, water cycle. Many things are there. Many cycles are there which are interconnected to each other, and they continuously interact with each other, which makes our environment balance. So with this, we have done with our chapter number 4, environmental balance.